I'm going to be talking about 7 acres in the heart of the Black Hills we've got for sale. My name is McLaughlin here at Wilco Land. In this video, I'm going to go over a lot of common questions. I'm going to talk about the property, show you some good building sites, talk about the topography, show you what it looks like on satellite imagery. I'm going to cover some of the common questions I get on utilities, and more than anything, I'm going to teach you how you can go view this property on your own and have a successful land viewing. So kicking this video off, looking through a few photos, I want to mention this is not legal advice. It's not real estate advice. This is me simply sharing my thoughts and opinions through my 10 plus years of experience in the land industry, buying and selling land. So as you can see, we've got a lot of flat area on this property. There's a really cool lookout point too that I want to show you guys. And I do want to show you it is adjacent to over 4,000 acres of Forest Service land and more contiguous to that, right? This is in the heart of the Black Hills. Probably 10 minutes from Mount Rushmore. You're 20 minutes from Rapid City. You're 20 minutes from Lake Pactola. Sheridan Lake is right there. 30 minutes from Custer. This is a really, really prime location in the Black Hills. And I'll show you guys what that looks like on a map here in a second after we go through some of these photos. Talking about the target audience, I think it's going to be folks who are looking to build a cabin, or even looking for a long-term land investment in the hills. There's no need to build on this right away. You could do something as small as a small little tiny home cabin, or as big as a mansion on this property for what you want to do. But I think, like I said, the location is probably the biggest selling point of the property. It's got some good topography. It's adjacent to the Black Hills, but I'll show you where it's at on a map, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So this would be a really good build site right here too. So yeah, this is what the road access looks like. Here's a road going in there, easily maintained. One of the neighbors maintains that road. So here's the location of this property. Here's Keystone, South Dakota. Here's Mount Rushmore National Monument. Here's Custer, South Dakota. And then you've got obviously Lake Pactola right here. You've got Sheridan Lake right here as well. And then just to the east is Rapid City, right? And then a little bit further north is Deadwood. So as I zoom out, we are right in the heart of the Black Hills here. This is a prime location. Again, Hill City's in your backyard, Mount Rushmore, Custer, Rapid City, Lake Pactola, Sheridan Lake. It's an awesome location in the Black Hills. The distance to all of those, like I said, 20, 30 minutes. You're within 20, 30 minutes of all those. Deadwood's about an hour away. Spearfish, add 10 minutes, right? So super close to a lot of fun things you can do in the Black Hills. So I think the location is a huge selling point. We went through some of the photos. There's a couple other photos I want to show you, talking about the land. I want to show you what it looks like on satellite imagery too. I have actually walked this property as well, so I can share with you a little bit more about the land and kind of my vision if it were my property. So going through some of these photos, I won't spend all day on them because you can look through them on your own. I want to talk about power. There are power lines running along that road. So power is going to be the least of your concerns. Power is there, power is available. That's going to be easy to tap into with a local PUD. The next thing I want to talk about for those looking to build, water is going to be by well. There is no city water connection for this property. So you can contact a local well driller, maybe get some quotes from a local well driller out there if you're interested in that. That's just kind of on with par with developing on your land. For those looking for sewer, there is no central sewer system here. We're out in the country. You're going to be installing a septic system. Contact a local septic company, get a perk test, find a good spot for a septic system on the property. That should be no issue either when we're talking about 7 acres. I thought these were kind of fun photos, and I saved them here too. I used AI to basically render some images of what I thought would be possible on the property. So, use some AI to show you what this could be. Something as small and minimal as that with a camper in your backyard or on the side of your house. Or something like this. This would be a cool little property back there in the hills too. And then I thought this was a cool design as well if you're looking for something bigger back here. So again, AI does a cool job of rendering these type of cabins you could do on the property. So that's what it would look like. I want to talk a little bit more about when I walked the property. You can see here as I zoom in, I walked all of the property here. This is all part of the property down here. It's got a really cool lookout spot up top here. And I'll show you what this looks like on satellite imagery too, so you don't have to see all my lines. But for the most part, like I said, power is on site. You're going to be installing a well for water, and you're going to be installing a septic system for sewer. There's a couple really nice building sites on the property. I'm going to pull up satellite imagery here and show you what those look like. So first of all, and we can even do it on Onyx Maps, I like the topography shown here a little bit better. So, if I hide this map, it'll help us look at this, and I hide this map, there's a large section of land right here that I want to draw for you. So I think a really great building site, basically you can build, anything from like right here to here. Like this is all buildable territory on the property. It does start to slope upwards from there. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. It's a pretty easy hike to get up there, but I think that would be a really cool lookout spot. So I'm not building on the top of that peak. That'd be a very challenging build. But something like a little like pergola, like some benches up there, a little place to enjoy a cocktail at the end of the night, watch a sunset, create your own little hiking trail to the top of that peak, put some seating up there, flatten out some areas. You've got a really, really cool lookout spot. There's not a lot of properties you can buy in the Black Hills that offer those type of lookout spots that you're gonna get on top of that property. So you can see views for miles from that lookout spot on top of the property. So like I said, your building pocket is all gonna kind of be down from the hill here. And I think this section would be a good area to build as well. This is not an easement. That is not an easement. I just want to be clear about that. Nobody can drive through that except the landowner. The landowner being the person who buys the subject property. But this is also a really good building site right down here. This gives you about an acre of land too, this little pocket. So this was a nice little meadowed area. Down here, you could put something down there if you wanted to, but realistically, I think most people are gonna probably develop on this north end of the property right here. I think this is gonna offer the most privacy. Here's a few of the neighbors. I had a chance to meet them when I was out there. Really nice people. Like I said, one of them does a snow removal and things like that. But for this piece of land, you've got a ton of usable space right down here. Almost 2 acres right in this pocket. And let's take a peek at this. This is a great building site right here. And then, like I said, you could even build into the side of the hill if you wanted to. If you want to spend a little bit more money, you could build into the side of this hill. People are building, it's the Black Hills, that's what people do. They build in the mountains. That's just part of the topography. That's part of, developing out here. But yeah, this is a really, really nice building pocket on the property, in my opinion, right there. And you could even build further down here. It thins out a little bit right here. Let's say you wanted more of a building pocket, starting right here. It does thin out a little bit, but there's definitely plenty of space to build something like that right there in about an acre of land too. But I do think this section right here is going to be the best spot to build and the most private. Across the road is the Cosmos Mystery Area. That's a Forest Service owned attraction in the Black Hills right here. It's only open for the summer months, so you don't get a lot of traffic back there the rest of the year. And for the most part, talking to the neighbors, there's not a whole lot of traffic anyway. This is a dead-end road that comes back here. There's a few other cabins. There's some rental cabins and things back here too. That's another idea. Maybe it's an Airbnb close to Mount Rushmore. That is a really great idea for this location, is doing something like that. If you're interested to see what the drive-in looks like, you can actually pop down here on Street Views and take a peek at the entryway. I thought this was kind of cool. So this is your access route to get back to your property right down here on Cosmos Road. So like I said, one of the biggest selling points of this property is going to be the location, going to be the usability of this property, and the fact that, everything behind you. So if we get back to Onyx Maps and get out of this, everything behind you adjacent to this property is going to be 3,500 acres of national forest. And, this national forest backs up to more national forest, right? So another 7,000 acres of Black Hills National Forest. Across the road, is more national forest, right? So, you just have tens of thousands of acres of national forest in your backyard. That is also a big selling point. Nobody's building behind you, and these homes have already established where they're at. So what makes this property unique is that your buildable area right here is actually really private coming around this corner. You really don't notice these homes. It's really well treed with some nice mature trees back there. And then this lookout tower that I'm talking about, this peak, offers a lot of privacy from the other direction. So we really liked this property when we walked it. That's one of the reasons we bought it. I really believe in this market as well. So again, like I said, looking at this property, I do think, a great building site down here, create some sort of a little hiking trail up to the top, a seating area, maybe a grill up there, a place to have dinner, place for the grandkids to camp, things like that. I do think this property offers a lot, from views to nice buildable meadow areas adjacent to the Forest Service. So if you have any questions, give us a call. Again, these are AI rendered designs, so there is no home on the property, to be clear about that. You're right off the main road, 16 in Rapid City, off Rapid City. You could live and work in Rapid, and you could work in Rapid and live on the property. You could create a rental for folks going to Mount Rushmore. Black Elk Peak, the highest peak in South Dakota, is really close to the property, right? So if you haven't been out to the Black Hills, whether you're looking for an investment in a growing market or a place to build your future, family legacy cabin, this is one of those legacy properties. You don't see a lot of inventory hit the market in this nice of a location in this part of the Black Hills at this price. So, give us a call if you have any questions. I do have other listings all over the United States. What we do is we buy and sell raw land. Going back a second, if you do want to view the property, go ahead and simply use the GPS coordinates in our website here to copy and paste these. I like to use Onyx Maps. That's how I looked at the property using Onyx Maps. You can actually see these property lines. If you don't have Onyx Maps, you can see pretty clearly, here's this old road. It ends down here, beyond this parking area. The property basically starts at the back end of this house, so that's gonna help you give some natural features. Then you've got the peak in the back corner. So if you don't have that, just find a way to get to Cosmo's mystery area, plug it in your GPS coordinates or in your Google Maps. It's going to bring you right to the property. It should be pretty well identifiable when you're out on the property. So yeah, give us a call if you have questions. We have more information on the website right here. You can see it's zoned for agriculture. You can look at Pennington County's website here. Power is available. We talked about, well and sewer. I don't think I'm missing anything here. If you're interested in other areas of the Black Hills, I do have a 40-acre just north of Newcastle that I can show you out in Wyoming. I've got some nice land deals in Wyoming just across the border in Casper and in Newcastle, Wyoming, if you're interested. So here's a nice little 2.3 acre property out here in Casper Mountain. This is a nice area. There's a little ski resort. And then I do have 40 acres just north of Newcastle, Wyoming, just south of the Salt Creek Overlook, if you're familiar with that area. This is a really nice chunk of land we've put a driveway and a building site into. So this is next to the Flying V Lodge, if you're familiar with that, but this is basically on the Wyoming side of the Black Hills. Like I said, get with us if you have any questions. You can reach us here at 605-299-5553. Thanks for tuning in.